What's up, party people? Damien from Flow Forge here. I'm going to talk about crunch time. You probably know what crunch time is, but you don't. Crunch time is the times in life when all of a sudden the responsibility of whatever you've taken on means that you don't get a break and you don't get to really be chill either. It's a time when you just have to lock in. And if you can't, something really bad will happen. Now, the way you can think about crunch time is it's like a trial. Just as an example, like you lose all of your money in an instant, and then the bills are due and the rent is due. And you don't have enough money and you've got to do something to get the bills paid, but you just used all of your money on your car. So what are you going to do? That's the $1 million question. What are you going to do? And the only thing that you can do is basically go into overdrive on your thinking. So just start using your noggin and immediately think of all the potential possible solutions. And I'll tell you what not to do. If you panic, then you're screwed. And the whole thing about crunch time is that we've all been in it at some point, and we've all probably spiraled while we were in it. We've all probably had a downward spiral while we were in crunch time. I'm going to give you a hard truth. This is one of my favorite verses in the Bible, is Proverbs 24:10. And it just speaks such a simple and raw truth about life. It says, the man who faints in the day of distress is not strong. That's it. Other Bibles word it something along the lines of basically, the message is that if you fail under trial, it's because you weren't good enough. And there's no excuses. It's just you weren't good enough. So trials will come. Trials of all kinds, they will come. Your car breaking down, your spouse being angry at you, your unexpected bills that kind of like right hook you. We've all had that happen where it's like, where the hell did that come from? These things just happen. The one thing that you can bet on is that a trial is coming, right? So you want to be prepared when the trial comes. And crunch time is a type of trial. In fact, I would say that every single trial that you have basically turns into crunch time, where you just have to hold shape and keep executing until it's over. And sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's a day, and sometimes it's like a week. Sometimes it's a month, and it just depends on the trial that you're in. How do you survive a trial? Like, how do you survive crunch time when it comes up? Well, the first thing is that, understand like your brain wants stimulation and that stress is stimulating. So that's why you downward spiral. And that's why you basically only have two options when you have ADHD, which is like the upward spiral or the downward spiral. Because the upward spiral is good emotions stimulating you, the downward spiral is bad emotions stimulating you. But I'm going to teach you a way to get some stimulation and to sort of try and avoid or sidestep the downward spiral. Okay? So my first tip is this. If you find yourself in crunch mode, start listening to music. Like, if you get the chance, you're not always going to get the chance. Don't be like fiddling around with your phone trying to get music working if you are in crunch time and it's like you actually need to move right now. But Okay, so actually, I'm going to rewind just a second. So, my first real tip is go at pace because you don't know how long crunch time is going to last usually. And the worst thing for you to do is to kick yourself into high gear when you didn't need to, because switching from a low gear to a high gear and like just kind of like jamming and cranking all the way up versus instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, it's not good. Your brain hates it. And what this also does is, anxiety is essentially caused by differences in your brain waves in different parts of your head. So it's like this brain wave is not synchronized with this one, and this one's not synchronized with this one, and they're all energetic typically. But anxiety can also happen when you have like highly energetic brain waves mixed with very passive low brain waves, like theta, which you have a lot of and when you have ADHD. And when you get riled up by something, then you are mixing these two things and it makes you anxious, right? So my tip for you is remember this: productivity is perfect pace. You want to find the perfect pace to be moving at. And typically it's as fast as you can go without having to exert too much effort. Like the whole goal is to use momentum to your advantage so that when you like get up to this point, moving up to the next point is not that difficult. Right? Like if you think about if you're on a bike with gears, once you get up into say 5th gear and you want to go to 6th, well, it's not that hard. But if you want to go from 1st to 6th, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm pedaling lead, right? And the reason why is because you went from one to the next, into the next, into the next, and this is how life works. This is how it is. And so this still applies during crunch time. Like the temptation is going to be to kick it into high gear. The temptation is going to be to kick it into high gear and to just go ballistic, and it's not going to help you. Like you need to manage your momentum, and sometimes you do have to kick it into high gear, right? Like let's say you're literally in like an emergency scenario where you need to be fast now, and you don't have time. Like you don't even have time to think. You just need to go immediately into a sprint. My recommendation when you have something like this, and for crunch time overall, is the way that you stop the spiral and the way that you actually stay calm and the way that you actually quote unquote like lock in is you can't, in that moment, you can't be worrying about what you look like. You can't be worrying about anything other than just executing. So you have to be single-minded, which means that you're going to basically have to shut off parts of your brain that are focused on other things or that are thinking about other things. Like basically you need to bring down your neuroticism, which is basically just like you're thinking a lot. So you have to quiet your thoughts as much as you can and then only allow the useful thoughts to exist. I have intrusive thoughts all the time. And so I'm going to tell you how to manage the thoughts that are not helping. What works for me, just understand that every thought that comes into your mind is a suggestion. And it's not actually your thought, and you don't have to feel guilty or weird about it. It's a suggestion, and it's not you. But if you accept it, you engage with it, if you ruminate on it, now it becomes your thought. So the way you need to think about this is it's like you are the chairman and you are just driving the ship. Like you're the captain. And then the crew are yelling all these things at you like, hey, do this. The other crew member's like, hey, do this. The other crew member's like, hey, do this. And then one of the crew members might get mad and just be like, you're such a failure, because you didn't pay attention to him or something, right? And these are all like the different parts of your psyche. And I don't necessarily believe that all of them are. I think like sometimes intrusive thoughts are, I'm a spiritual person, so I don't think it's always your psyche, but it plays a huge part. Imagine if a captain was driving a ship and then one of the crew members like told him like, you suck. And then the captain got angry and then immediately started like mashing buttons on the ship and like basically throwing a tantrum like, oh, you rascal, like don't you say that to me. Like it'd just be ridiculous. And so that's what it's like when you respond to these negative thoughts. It's ridiculous. And they get what they want. They get to see you react. And that's another thing is stimulation. Like whenever you react, you are basically telling your brain, hey, this gives me stimulation. And so your brain is like, okay, I'll give him more because I like stimulation, right? And so like, your brain doesn't care if the stimulation is good or bad. It just wants stimulation. So you reacting is creating a feedback loop where your brain wants to send you more of that. And this is how the downward spiral happens. Okay? So my first tip was basically just like pick the pace, and then like shut off your mind. Try to stop thinking as much as possible. And the way you do this is by returning to the observer. Just understanding that your thoughts are not you. You are the thing behind your thoughts. And you can just observe your thoughts and then just like literally not even feel anything about it. Like you can literally just watch them and it's like, okay, dude's going crazy. I don't know what he's on about. he's pop off, I guess. But you just remain detached because they're like different parts of your nervous system. So just remain in the chill one. And then it's like, okay, we're just locked in and we're just moving. And that's it. We're moving. And, you remain athletic about it. And then another thing you can do is be like, okay, I'm in a trial. Now is my time to grow. And understand that like there's a reward at the end of this. Even if that reward is just I passed a trial and I have another one under my belt. Think of it as like an achievement. And think of it as like a cool story you can tell. Like I remember this time when this happened and everything was going wrong and I basically just like locked in and I made it work, and you feel really good after that. And these trials can be all types of things. They can be financial, they can be situational, like an emergency, they can be emotional. A lot of times they're emotional. Like if your spouse or your family member wants to argue with you, that's an emotional trial. When they're like on edge and then you're like bouncing energy back and forth off of each other and it's like the tiny little like imperfections in your tone are sending them over the edge, like this is a kind of trial. And so you need to just immediately go into the observer, shut off different parts of your brain, and then just observe. And then just be calm. And then also be like, thinking, like you want to have the useful thoughts. So it's like detach. And then from there, it's like, okay, what can I do? Like start thinking about the situation and not anything in the situation, if that makes sense. Like don't become engaged or wrapped up with anything in the situation. Just think about the situation as a whole. Okay, this person is mad at me. This person looks like they're about to hit me. So what am I going to do? Am I going to like tweak out and freak out and like, oh, and then like, square up? Like, no. Or am I going to like run away? Like, no, that's not what you're going to do. You're just going to hold your hand out. That's it. You just hold your hand out. Like, hey, bud, chill. And then if he doesn't want to chill, you just hold your hand out. This isn't a self-defense channel, but like that's what you should do is you should hold your hand out and then back up and then but basically be in the stance where you can hit them if you need to. And when you're in crunch mode, the the desire, the temptation is to always escalate, but you need to be on the side of de-escalation. Like you need to always be trying to de-escalate when you're in crunch mode, because your brain wants to escalate. And so if you are escalating with your brain, then it's going to have a runaway reaction, basically. And then you'll have a nuclear meltdown. Lovely. That's my first step. And one way you can control how you feel very well is because let's be real here, like being mindful consistently is kind of hard unless you've actually been practicing it for a while. You like meditate regularly, it's pretty difficult. So a kind of cheat code or trick is, your brain's going to want to pick like the emotional, like I'm like ascendant song, like I'm going to lock the hell in, but like don't pick that song. Just pick a song that makes you happy. Just pick a song that makes you like chill and happy, and put some headphones on as you're in this trial. And you can even play calming music. I honestly kind of don't recommend calming music because I feel like compared to where you're at, like what you're actually doing and what you're in and what you're thinking about is like doesn't match up with the calming music. So like it might pull you back a little bit, but I think it'd be better to have something where it's like it's got a pace, it's steady, and you're moving, and it's maybe a little bit adrenaline, but it's not going to let you downward spiral because it's like you're happy, you're chilling, and it's not going to let you run away, basically. So it's not like super melodic, it's not like full of lyrics, it's not a highly emotional song, it's just like some okay. So listen to some music like that when you're in a trial. And that's good too because it gives you pace. That like helps you regulate the pace where it's like I just know step, 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 step. Let me know in the comments if there's a song like this that you like, and I'd like to listen to it. For me, it's Our Work Is Never Over by Daft Punk. I don't know if that's what it's called, but that's the lyrics, and I like that song. You want to have the perfect pace, and that you may still be able to go slow in the trial. Like if it's going to last a week, you're probably going to be able to go slow. And so you need to just slow down and like be strategic about what you're going to do next. And when you're in a trial, typically your slow is not really slow. It's more like sort of like intentional, like I'm taking a stop here and I'm like recalibrating, and then I'm going to get up and keep going, right? Like you're not actually letting yourself lose the momentum, because if you do, then might be screwed. And another thing to understand is like your brain gets tired of this pretty quickly. Your brain gets tired in trial mode pretty quickly. And so it's going to want to just, like, you're going to have a stronger temptation to just go and do something that's completely useless. And basically, like, avoid and, like, doom scroll and just, like, snuff out these negative emotions with dopamine seeking behavior. Like, you're going to try and, like, eat a bunch of food. And my recommendation is be mindful of the fact that your brain needs dopamine, especially since you have ADHD. It's like, if you don't have any dopamine, you're just going to feel miserable. Like, you're just going to feel miserable. So, go ahead and, like, eat that piece of candy real quick. Like, go ahead and watch one short, but make sure you tell yourself it's one short, and then literally, like, have your finger on the power button and, like, click the phone so it, like, goes to sleep after the short, right? Or just things of that nature. Like, basically, make sure you do not get swept away by dopamine seeking behavior in a trial, because you're probably going to be screwed and stuck in it, and then you're going to fail the trial. Passing trials is a fundamental skill that you need to have in life if you want to succeed, if you want to go far, because they're always coming, and whatever path to success you may be on, they're going to come for you on that path. and they're probably going to come right before the finish line. That's when they like to show up. Just a little pattern I've noticed. All you can do is be resourceful. Try to not think, because the neuroticism is the problem. You need to basically just try and empty your head as much as possible and understand that, you know, you can get stimulation just from observing things around you instead of interacting with your thoughts. So just start like literally like looking around and like basically like pinging things and just like noticing things, and get into that sort of like zip it and just execute. And you're just like looking around at things and you're just like thinking about, okay, what do I do next? Okay, what do I do next? Okay, how fast should I be moving? Okay, what do I do next? You know, and then you're just figuring out what to do next, and then figuring out how fast you should go. And then guess what? This entire life is a trial. Like, did that sound familiar? That's literally how you live life. So you're living in a trial right now. Oh. But try and curate things. Try and regulate your mood with music, with dopamine, but don't get sucked in to dopamine seeking. Just, you know, be mindful of the fact that your brain needs some when you're in a trial. So you're allowed to try and have some. Another huge thing is just actually surrender to it. If you're trying to get out, you're just going to make it worse. Like, you need to actually just surrender and work with the trial until it's done. And that's all you can do. And you just do the next thing that you need to do. Think about it, be strategic, remain calm. And you can breathe, you do breathing exercises, you know, box breathing, that's super easy. Just inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4, or, you know, change it to whatever you need. I do like rectangle breathing. I find that works better for me. Make sure you submit to the trial and you're not trying to get out, because what's going to happen is, like, you're going to think you're so close to getting out. Like, you're going to, like, your mind is going to trick itself into getting into this state where it's like, I can get out. I see a way. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. And then the trial is here and it's like, oh, really? Is that what you think? And then it like grabs you and you're like, no, no. And it like just drags you back in and you're like, ah. And then it's like so much worse because it feels like these little things, like you looking for an escape, and then it's like the escape doesn't work, is basically demoralizing you. So instead of looking for an escape, just look for the next thing you can do, and then consider that a win. And then consider it one step closer to the trial being over. So that's what you do, is you just, next step. Okay, I won. Next step. Okay, I won. Like every step in a trial is a trial in and of itself. So you just, okay, I passed this trial. Okay, I passed this trial. Okay, I passed this trial. And, you know, eventually it's over. It's like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And typically, a lot of times, what's going to happen when you're in a trial is you're going to have, quote unquote, like flies buzzing. Like a trial is going to come at a time, at like the worst time, when it's like 4 people want your attention and are angry at you, and all want you to do something for them. Or you just had a breakup, like literally not even 5 minutes ago, and are like, don't even have time to emotionally process. Just all of these things. Like, you're going to have these flies buzzing, and it's like they want your attention, and you just can't give it your attention. You just have to do what you know you actually need to do. You need to just keep thinking about your values and what needs to get done next. And if you can't do anything about something right now, stop trying to do something about it. Like, just say, okay, I can't do anything about it right now. I will think of a solution later. And then just, you need to accept it. And it's going to hurt. It's going to suck really bad. But you'll get through the trial. And then you basically like grow in aura when you pass through a trial. It's like from that point on, it's like, you know that this can't get you. This can't touch you anymore. and you'll just have a different air about you. You'll just gain more confidence. So you could think of that as a prize of a trial as well, as more confidence. And trials are good things. So you should be happy when you encounter a trial. You should be rejoicing, even though you might not feel like it. You just try and get in touch with the part of your brain. It's like, okay, I know this really sucks, but this is also really awesome because I'm about to grow. Like a trial is a place of transformation. It's like life is always beating you down and like hammering out the steel, right? And the trial is like the most intense part, when it's like the blacksmith's going crazy and then he's like quenching it and then like yanking it back out of the water and like heating it up again and then like going crazy, like he's not stopping, right? And he just has to do that. He just has to do that for whatever reason. So that's just a step in the process that you're in. Yeah, that's my advice, is just accept it. Try to regulate your mood with music and things that give you dopamine, but don't let them suck you away, which is like, don't pick music that's going to suck you away. Ignore the flies. There's going to be flies. Try and do some box breathing or rectangle breathing. And then basically you think of it as this, like, thoughts are your enemy. When you're in a trial, thoughts are your enemy. And don't try to completely get rid of them, because that's going to be a struggle and that's going to be stimulation and it's going to make the trial harder. Just be like, okay, I'm going to ignore my thoughts. Like, I'm going to have a thought, and then instead of responding to it, I'm just going to respond by understanding, okay, this is a suggestion. It's not mine. It doesn't have to be mine unless I engage with it. So I'm just going to reject that counsel. That's literally the mindset, is like, nope, I reject that counsel. Or nope, I reject that. And that's it. You know, don't do it out of like a vengeful or like a comebacky way. Just be like, nope, it's not for me. Sorry. Wrong person. Try the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want more mentorship like this, one-on-one, personally, my first sessions are always free. After that, it's $50 per session. So just let me know in the comments, and I'll get you hooked up. I would love to chat. All right. Peace, guys.